Slow-moving storms drenched much of southern Texas, with more heavy rain on Wednesday, prompting warnings to evacuate flooded areas after downpours washed out roads and farmland and led to dozens of high water rescues across the region. The National Weather Service said a tornado touched down in the northwestern part of San Antonio near Interstate 10. Videos posted on social media showed what appeared to be a small twister. Local officials said apartment buildings and other properties were damaged. Warnings of potentially dangerous flash flooding were in effect for some areas as the deluge was forecast to continue through Thursday evening, and authorities urged people to evacuate rather than be marooned by high water in Uvalde County and the city of Bourne outside San Antonio. In Kerr County, where catastrophic flooding last year killed more than 100 people, officials were in contact with summer camps and retreat centers near rising rivers. As much as 10 to 20 inches, 25 to 50 centimeters of rain was possible in some places before the storms move out, the Weather Service said. There have been no reports of deaths or injuries from the tornado or the flooding. The highest rainfall totals so far, up to 16 inches, 40 centimeters, have been in Uvalde County, where officials tallied 25 rescues as of 9 a.m. and said more people needed help as river levels rose. Highways and roads were closed across the region because of high water. State Representative Don McLaughlin said that despite a little lull, the rainfall wasn't done, and waterways could become more dangerous. The rivers and the creeks are going to be coming up, and they're going to be coming up again with a vengeance, McLaughlin said. Frances McNamara and her 10-year-old son Everett watched the bloated Leona River in Uvalde sweep southward Wednesday as she considered possible evacuation routes. She pointed to a solid line of dirt, branches, and twigs about 8 feet, 2 meters, above the river where the water reached the day before. "We've seen the water rise, but not to this extent," she said, describing how it rushed through a ditch next to her home with enough force to sound like a river on Tuesday. This week's severe weather brought back memories of last year's deadly flooding in Texas Hill Country. "It scared me," said McNamara, her eyes wet with tears as she recalled the 2025 floods. "'Cause I have a son, and to know what those parents went through." Her son reached up and patted her back. Around midday Wednesday, Uvalde County Sheriff Ruben Nolasco asked people living near flooded areas to evacuate voluntarily. No mandatory evacuation orders had been issued, but his social media post urged residents to prepare to leave as the rain continues. Lightning flashed as clouds darkened the landscape Wednesday across Uvalde, where the typically calm Leona River poured over low bridges. The riverbanks were strewn with debris, including branches and grass, plastic bags, and a cactus, from a day earlier when the river was several feet higher. The night had brought booming thunder through a steady rain, swelling the rivers and creeks that ran through or just around the town. The rain would abate, then pummel the small town with heavy drops before lifting again. Texas Governor Greg Abbott has issued disaster declarations for dozens of counties. Authorities posted videos on Tuesday showing a rescue crew in a boat navigating flooded streets and a vehicle being swept away by fast-moving waters. 5 people were rescued by the Texas Game Warden Search and Rescue Team, and 4 were rescued by a local game warden, said Maggie Berger, a Texas Parks and Wildlife spokeswoman. Forecasters warned that hilly terrain in other parts of the region could be especially vulnerable to heavy rain. The highest level of concern for potentially dangerous flooding Wednesday was for areas west of San Antonio and north of Route 90, Weather Service meteorologist Monty Oakes said. In Bourne, a city of about 24,000 northwest of San Antonio, residents of several areas were told by officials to either evacuate voluntarily or prepare to shelter in place as waters rose. City spokesperson Chris Shadrock said in a video post on Facebook that high water rescues were ongoing and that the city's busiest intersection was completely underwater. "This is a life-threatening weather event. I don't want to mince words about how serious the situation is," Shadrock said. He said the water was rising even in areas that don't usually flood. Oakes said the rain is being fueled with tropical moisture, mostly from the Gulf of Mexico and some from the Pacific Ocean. This is called a typical midsummer tropical weather pattern that happens in Texas, said Oakes. About once every 5 years, we'll get socked in with a daily recurrence of heavy rain chances that's generally produced by a stagnant kind of a pattern with a low-pressure center that's just not moving very fast. The Kendall County Office of Emergency Management and Fire Marshal said in a Wednesday morning Facebook post that residents living along Cibolo Creek in the heart of Bourne, Evergreen, Yolana, and West San Antonio Avenue areas should voluntarily evacuate now or prepare to shelter in place as water levels continue to rise. Communications and Civic Engagement Director Chris Shadrock said in a video update on Wednesday, July 15th, that even areas not typically prone to flooding may see elevated water levels, and the city has not seen similar flood conditions since 2015. This is a life-threatening weather event, he said. If you live along any of the creeks in Bourne, No Name, Curry, Cibolo, Frederick, Menger, Ranger Creek, northwest of town, you need to be prepared to evacuate. You need to be prepared to leave. Those who chose to evacuate can find shelter at Bourne ISD's central offices, located at 235 Johns Road, or the Patrick Heath Public Library, located at 451 North Main Street, Bourne, Texas, 78006. A shelter-in-place alert has also been issued for residents of the Ranger Creek Road area, west of Bourne City Lake Park, which is more than 101% full as of Tuesday after heavy rainfall. Crews have closed River Road in all directions. Ranger Creek continues to rise, and even more rainfall is expected throughout the day. The Emergency Management Office says conditions can change rapidly, and locals should not wait until roads become impassable. Residents should also avoid leaving the area or crossing flooded roadways or low-water crossings. A tornado briefly touched down in San Antonio Wednesday morning, and communities across the Texas Hill Country are experiencing significant flooding today. Communities should stay alert, as the National Weather Service warns that catastrophic flooding is possible this week. The National Weather Service confirmed the tornado crossed Interstate 10 between the Dominion and Shavano Park. It was first reported around 7:50 a.m. in Shavano Park. The tornado caused significant damage to the Palladium IMAX Theater, the Oasis San Antonio apartments, and other nearby commercial properties. I honestly didn't even know it was a tornado until after I got the alert like 10 minutes later, Oasis resident William Hodges said. We didn't know it at the time, but the roof was gone. According to Leon Valley Fire Chief David Frausto, emergency crews began receiving calls just before 8 a.m. When firefighters arrived, they found a large portion of the roof torn off an apartment building at the Oasis complex. 3 apartment units on the 4th floor were damaged. Firefighters also responded to reports of a possible person trapped at another apartment complex, but after conducting a thorough search, they confirmed no one was injured. The storm also damaged scaffolding and created structural concerns at several buildings. Beyond the apartment complexes, crews reported widespread damage throughout the rim area, including damaged storefronts and commercial buildings, fallen trees, scattered debris, and damaged signage. Firefighters and public works crews continue removing hazards and assessing damage. Officials are urging the public to stay away from damaged buildings, downed power lines, and other hazardous areas. The storm also disrupted power restoration efforts across the city. CPS Energy President and CEO Rudy Garza said widespread flooding has made it difficult for crews to safely reach damaged equipment. Garza said some electrical circuits must be temporarily de-energized so crews can safely repair damaged power lines. While many customers had power restored early Wednesday, thanks to the utility's grid resiliency equipment, additional outages are now being caused by lightning strikes and storm-damaged infrastructure. CPS Energy is also asking residents to avoid downed power lines and immediately report them to CPS Energy or 911. Officials also warned residents to be alert for the smell of natural gas and report any suspected leaks. At UTSA, Police Chief Stephanie Schoenborn said the university is working with the American Red Cross and San Antonio Police to assist students displaced by damage at the Oasis apartments. Officials estimate 10 to 12 UTSA students may be temporarily displaced. Despite the nearby damage, university operations remain normal on Wednesday. Nearby theme park. Six Flags Fiesta, Texas, announced it will remain closed on Wednesday because of the severe weather, as crews continue to assess storm damage. As of 12:30 p.m. Wednesday, BazarFlood.org reported 32 road closures across Bazar County due to high water. The city of Bourne is experiencing a flooding emergency as rivers and creeks continue to rise. The city has issued a shelter-in-place as of noon Wednesday. Bourne ISD is opening its central offices at 235 Johns Road for people needing a safe place to seek shelter. Visitors are urged to enter off Loman Street, and staff will be on site to provide assistance. The Patrick Heath Public Library is also opening as a shelter along 451 North Main Street. A few school districts have also canceled activities due to the flooding and rising water levels across the city. Northside ISD officials said all district and school offices are closed Wednesday out of an abundance of caution due to current weather conditions. In addition, all student activities are canceled for the remainder of the week. South San YSD also sent this statement. Due to the incoming inclement weather, South San Antonio ISD will close all district offices and campuses at 3 p.m. today to help ensure the safety of students, staff, and families. The district encourages families and staff to monitor South San Antonio ISD's official communication channels for any additional updates. According to Southwest ISD, all student activities scheduled for July 15th, including the summer feeding program, have been canceled. Forecasters warn additional rounds of heavy rain are expected through the day, meaning more roads could become impassable with little notice. Officials are urging drivers to slow down, allow extra travel time, and never drive through flooded roadways. Their message remains the same. Turn around, don't drown. Residents can monitor the latest road closures and traffic conditions before traveling by checking the BazarFlood.org map. In addition, SigAlert provides information on problems with traffic in the San Antonio area. TXDOT has a map that shows road conditions across all of Texas. Bourne ISD is opening its central offices at 235 Johns Road for people needing a safe place to seek shelter. Visitors are urged to enter off Loman Street, and staff will be on site to provide assistance. The Patrick Heath Public Library is also opening as a shelter along 451 North Main Street. Meanwhile, evacuations are underway in parts of the Texas Hill Country as rivers and creeks continue to rise due to heavy rainfall. In Bandera County, RV parks along the Medina River are being evacuated as the river is forecast to rise nearly 14 feet. Bandera County Judge Richard Evans has signed evacuation orders for the affected parks. Officials are urging residents to monitor the Bandera County Sheriff's Office Facebook page for the latest evacuation information and road closures. Crews have closed River Road in all directions. The city of New Braunfels is also temporarily closing access to the Comal River for all recreational activities, which is effective immediately by order of the Chief of Police. The city of Bourne warned residents that the flooding poses a serious life-threatening situation. Officials are providing updates on road closures, rising creek levels, power outages, and evacuation areas, and are urging anyone who lives near a creek or low-water crossing to stay alert. Residents are also reminded to avoid flooded roads and never drive around barricades. The city of Eagle Pass has declared a state of disaster after several inches of rain deluged the border city on Tuesday, July 14th, with as much as 10 to 20 inches of rain expected to fall on Wednesday. It's part of a larger severe weather system blanketing south-central Texas. The heavy rainfall and flooding have caused and continue to cause dangerous conditions throughout the city. These conditions present an imminent threat of widespread or severe damage, injury, loss of life, and property damage, reads the disaster declaration. A wide swath of the Edwards Plateau and Rio Grande Plains is currently under a flood watch with pockets of 10 to 20 inches of rain expected in this area, according to the National Weather Service. The entire border region, including Eagle Pass and Del Rio, is under a level 4 risk of catastrophic flooding. Heavy rains are expected to continue all day Wednesday and into Thursday during multiple rounds of storms. The rain is expected to impact rivers throughout the region, including the Rio Grande, which could experience main stem river flooding, the National Weather Service in San Antonio said. That, in turn, will likely lead to downstream flooding, even in areas that do not get deluged by rain. On Tuesday afternoon, Maverick County officials activated the county's Emergency Operations Center in anticipation of the worsening weather conditions, as a massive weather system dumped dozens of inches of rain across south-central Texas, flooded major highways, and began to spawn tornadoes eastward in San Antonio on Wednesday morning. While forecasters predict that the Eagle Pass and Del Rio area will be in the bullseye for some of the heaviest precipitation, Eagle Pass officials had already closed several major roadways across the city on Tuesday due to flooding or expected flooding.